relationships where someone's trying to basically bring you into a fucked up deal. In so many words, someone who moved like Matilda's dad. If you read the story of Matilda, I had this bar from the other day. If you read the story of Matilda, or at least I didn't read, I think I read the story, but I did read, I read that, and I watched the movie. In the movie, right, her father is a used car salesman. All right, super unhealthy guy. All right, uh, uh, and basically he sells faulty cars, and he makes no effort to sell good cars at all. He actually was showing her how he can dial back the odometer to make it says it has less miles than it actually does. Right? Um, it was some other stuff that he was doing, super shady stuff. But women, when it comes to making a deal, if a relationship is making a deal, that's how they're coming. But men won't really realize that this is even going on because again, like you're not thinking that, yo, this is a fucked up deal. And it doesn't really just stop there. It also bleeds into black men's everyday interactions. And there's so many different things that black men do that other races of men and other types of black men don't do. I don't think we think for ourselves as much as we should. I don't think of course you should be happy to see others happy, but it's a man's nature to sacrifice and try to do what he can to help the group and be useful. Over time, that's developed to where men look to add something to the world in some kind of way that's meaningful, right? But like I always say, black men have this thing where you don't realize you think like property. Like, so for example, right? Of course, men are success objects and it's important to be successful. But I thought about in my last relationship and even before that, what I thought basically was going to make me worthy of love. Or at what price point, at what income can I afford love? That's still kind of how I look at it, right? And to the point where this person wasn't even asking me about anything monetary wise. And then when my money changed, I had this intense insecurity about not being able to call the shots and not having the same position in a relationship. And don't get me wrong, finances are important and you should always be working on your finances because that's a part of survival. That's why we do all this shit. You understand? But the entire relationship, your self-esteem, your sense of self-worth cannot hinge entirely on your income because things change. But again, it's the man that make the clothes, it's the man that make the money. If you got it before, you can get it again. If I got it before, I can get it again. Pivot again. So let's go ahead and start with Nick Cannon. So this is Dr. Lane Bryant, I believe. So look, we go ahead and start with Nick, and we'll work our way down to a few other subjects, right? So I want to just play this clip right here, and I think that it's very interesting. And what's going on is that Nick is expressing himself. You know what else she's doing? What this woman does in these interviews is the man says what he thinks and he says how he feels. Then rather than exploring what he's saying, the next logical question would be, well, why do you say that? And why do you feel that way? And have a conversation. It's the intention in which your mission is. Her mission in these interviews is not to have a conversation. First of all, it is almost kind of evil. Let me get back on screen. It's almost kind of evil to have a conversation with the intention of changing who someone is. Because you're basically saying that I can decide what would make you a good person. I have to benefit from you. And this is, again, women carry out this mission, yo. In terms of understanding its strength in numbers. Understanding that we speak more, communicate more. So if you want to spread our idea, women can easily do that. And for the most part, women know how to kind of get on code and know when to copy each other. Men don't do that. And that's how relationships have gotten to where men are not interested in relationships anymore or pursuing them. Mostly because, again, men are starting to realize, you know what, I'm not really getting a good return on my investment. I don't feel satisfied in a relationship. I don't feel respected. You know what I mean? And again, because in Western culture, it's kind of a pastime. It's kind of a thing to do. It's like to kind of downplay the man's position, his intelligence, downplay him in general. On TV shows and movies, it's always the shit to make the main male character seem like an idiot, or always seem as though he's not as smart as this woman right here. Anywho, anyway, so Nick is expressing himself, and what Shorty does is basically say, no, let me tell you how to think.
Right.
And
but not all men do that. We don't want to blanket all men.
And
all
I was
men do not prey and manipulate. Not all men.
First of all humans prey and manipulate, but in a man in a relationship,
in a way.
So this woman just said that not all humans prey and manipulate. One of the reasons why women don't always have the strongest leadership when it comes to things that matter is because it's the willpower. It takes willpower to be honest. It's hard dealing with the realities of the world, which is why it's best to leave it to the men. All right. Not only are men, the toughness doesn't stop at the physical, right? It's also here. Men can tolerate more stress than women can, which also helps with, I'm talking about tolerating stress without breaking and trying to punish people because you're having a bad day. You're not a leader because you're a leader in name. It's also about how you treat people. All right, and what you give to them. A lot of times, people will feel like if I'm having a bad day, you're going to have a bad day too. Are you that kind of person? If you're that kind of person, you can't be a good leader. But what I'm saying is, the reason why she has to stop him is because it makes her uncomfortable. All right. And also, he didn't say anything wrong. Now, men can deal with that because the world is not, again, men have civilized the world to where the women don't even have to really deal with what things actually are, to the point where it's just normal that if you're a modern man and woman to just go against your nature, go against what actually works, and keep knocking, keep crossing boundaries, keep knocking down walls, even the ones that's supposed to keep you warm. I had to bring that metaphor home. But anywho, and you know, Eric Man made this point too. I don't even think that when Nick said man, I think he meant humanity. Right. And I know he said I'm a man, but I think what he's also speaking to is that, first of all, he's speaking to, no, let me scratch that. When Nick says I'm a man, what he's speaking to is what it takes to be in the position that he's in. You can look at him in any kind of way you want to look at that man, but at the end of the day, this man has been famous and has been getting money since I was like in 10th grade. Okay. I'm about to be 37 in like 6 weeks. You understand? So to get to this point, where he, you know, where he is where he is, then the fact that you're in the news for, don't get me wrong, it is reckless, but impregnating all these women and having these kids all over the place. And I ain't gonna lie, his reason for having these kids sound like some shit that he came up with, like when he was on Funny Gas. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a bad toothache. They did some surgery on the bull, give him some anesthesia, and he just thought, yo, I need to basically have these kids sperm donor style. You know what I'm saying? I need to go ahead and just spread my seed. Like he on some like Book of Mormon shit. You know what I mean? Like, so it sound biblical. Let me tell you something. When people got money, it's not as obvious that they crazy. Maybe they can and crazy. He was wearing a turban for a minute. for some years, I think. How long was Nick wearing a turban? He was wearing a turban now he up here with these braids, and not just like formal wear. I think he's wearing a vest as well.
And a praying
If
way.
I see that, I can say, okay, I feel like I need this and this person has this, I'm gonna do and say whatever I need to do to get that.
But Nick.
So therefore,